Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas with a new demonstration of how you can recognize forms in the development of letters as words. And I wasn't quite happy yet with the representations of the last video where I had mass, moss and mess. I thought that could be better, and I will explain this with some help of the theory, because it's not, the whole theory is not exactly about the formation process itself, that it is the essence of how forms or the formation process are exactly the same as how words express themselves and can be expressed and are expressions of a formation process. Now, it's not exactly that, because the words are descriptions of what can be compared to a formation process, but in basic as a basic foundation, they are actually about our way of giving attention to something, recognizing something, and giving it a certain direction already. And it's all about recognizing not just the forms but also the directions, and also recognizing how much we recognize. So the whole thing of what is actually a very influenceable, programmed way of understanding things is also about the programming itself. So I have to explain this a little bit. And in a way, so we can only recognize, let's say about not too much at the same time. So if we already have three kinds of differences in one situation, it's already too much to handle if they are very, very different. So the maximum totality of differences that we can recognize tends to have always these sections of three regions, of three positions, of three directions, always these kind of things that are compared to that. And you can, of course, combine differences of this category of three, and then you have a little bit more varieties, but it all comes down, and also all the letters come down to this variety of three. So they are 3 times 3 positions in each category. So there are also 3 categories. So then you have also all the letters are into these categories. What do these categories are related to? They are related to our way, how we give attention to something and recognize something, as I said. And the first category of these elements, they are about recognizing the form, the formation itself, the form. So we think at that point that we recognize a form well enough to put that into that category. There are about 9 letters that fit into that category where we think that we can estimate the form more or less. And we describe it also in 3 different ways, as you can see. There are also 3 different positions. And in the second category, as you can see there are also some shifts in position. So we choose also the position that we think is the most clear. Or we put it back into our middle focus as much as possible. If there's too much information, I will give you some examples a bit better in the next videos. But if it's a bit less clear that which directions that we really are seeing, okay, then we also emphasize on these directions, and these emphases are actually also a choice that you go, okay, I know I have some options here, okay, I'll follow a certain direction that I don't see immediately, so I need the element of time for it. So this is all about timing, not about objects in space that I can define. It's about timing. I will get there when I follow this track, when I follow the path, and these following of paths are also good for another 3 times 3 directions. In this case, actually there's one extra letter there, but that's another story. And the last category, here I have expressed them maybe some better than some other times, is there is the redirecting of our attention there. So we shift our attention indeed, but we have to reshift it because we took maybe a wrong direction, or we see something that someone else had the wrong direction, so we can put it back into the right focus. And so the focus itself is the main element that matters. So it's the frame. So it's all about frames. It's not only the redirections, it's all about frames. That's what it makes a bit more complicated, because these arrows are sometimes also combined, as you will have. And these are the last couple of letters. You have Q, V, G, H, R, and I, and S. And I'll go through them very quickly before I come to the words of with M. So how do you see these shifts of attention? As you can see, the A is like, okay, I think I have the center. And with T, so okay, I can take out the center. Okay, or I see there's a difference in the center. That's already a different mindset, and they fit with those letters. With U, you have, you already see that there are 2 kinds of centers, but in a way you say, okay, well, I start with the one I see most clearly. In the L as well, you have 2 centers in the vertical way, and you say, okay, I go for the one that I can take out most easily. And with B, you go for the extensions or the differences that are most clearly. C, M, and X, you see already more complexity, because you have more variety that you can see that comes out there. With C, you will also make a selection from the variety. With the M, you will get a formation of some variety. And with the X, there's so much variety that you already have to shift your attention a little bit, or be careful that you don't lose your attention to what matters at that point. But these are still the positions when you think, okay, I can recognize the object physically, and I have it there, and from that position alone, I don't have to make any extra changes. The attention shifts. It's different, because here with the D, or you want to say, okay, you have something right, something left. They are quite different. What do I have to do to go from right to left? What do I have to do to take something out with the N? What do I have to do to go to change to somewhere else with the Y? Or what is actually already going towards something else, and what is happening then, and what will happen in that time process? In the A and the O as well, what will be taken out in the time process, and what will be the change, and so on. That kind of way of thinking is all related with this category. And then the last one, the shifts of attention, okay, they combine things, except for Q, V, and G. The attention goes, back to the right direction, left or right, or the V. You also, instead of that, you took something out and you said, this is for me. No, you put it back where it belongs. That's with the V. With the G also, with the extensions and so on, you have to limit your extensions a little bit, and you say, okay, I take a step back, or I will take something that I don't know, and I will take that adaptation towards it. The H and the R are related with these unknown factors, so there is also the frame we don't fully grasp. You see, they are bigger than the H is bigger there than what we could grasp in already from the elements that we see. So there is also kind of neutral terrain that where it also will work, and we don't understand how, but that's how we deal with elements that have the H in them. The R itself is also about all the deviations, all the extra diagonal tendencies. They are also related in an area where that works. The E inserts the new elements, and the S also will insert new elements, and they will have the after effect. That's more or less very quickly the whole system, based upon what we can recognize, is what we can define, is how we define it. That's what letters are about. The M, as you can see, this is a kind of estimation of M. I have sometimes also myself the tendency of putting this into a form, because the M, I know it is also about water. It will flow through the directions. Yeah, it can flow into all directions. The water will flow into directions that are available. That makes it a bit more difficult to estimate it. Where will it go to? But it will flow, and you can arrange it like a whole mass and so on. So that makes it easy to put it into a form. But is it then always correct? No, not at all, because it has to adapt to what you have as an environment, and that will not be made easy when you will use a formula of a form for it. So that's why I said form is not the main thing. It's not the most exact thing, but it's the description of what kind of situation that you have, how we can recognize things in this kind of situation, how we behave towards it, because it has this situation, and so on. This whole set is something you always have to have in the back of your mind if you want to understand the letters fully. But I can have the M as an area where there are extensions going on, a terrain, let's say. And combined with the A, which is in the physical area, where I know the physical thing, where you recognize and you say, I know where it is, I have this physical thing, it's there, combined with that M, where there is some extensions. Where there are extensions, it's not very difficult to get a word like mass after it, where the S is the effect that will have its full effect shown from there, with M and A combined. It's of course with a double S. It's of course the whole you have to see, okay, where do I see the effects? Where do I sense the effect? It's weighing down, and it's weighing to all the directions, and it comes forth from the physical object. That is what mass, the mass is about, of course. And the result will be that this combination of letters, M-A-S-S, will be about the effects that weigh down on the form. That's just something you should actually already sense quite easily in just following. What do you recognize here at this position? What do you recognize when I emphasize that part? And so on, and then you come to a conclusion, and that's the conclusion, what it should be. In combination with O, the O, as you can see, is this kind of estimation, distinction, that you can say, okay, there are differences. I can see what can I take out, and how can I take out, how can I go from that position to the other one. It takes some time, so I don't know how to do so. It is mostly related not just with time, with process, but also with environment. That's all the letters are about, these kind of elements that are associated with it. And if you can, if I adapt it to the M, and I know of course where I will land to, moss. We also know that this already fits with moss. You already see this whole set of possibilities that surrounds it are becoming more emphasized. And with the S in combination, You also have this, of course, still have the same effect. So you have this weighing down and you have this pressed outside, but in combination now with the different form underneath the O, which tries to lift it up to the whole environment, this weighing down effect will actually then, because of the O, be more uplifted into the environment. And that's what the moss is doing. And I will have an extra S to it, so it will of course also be uplifted as an effect. I don't know how to form it in a form so easily. It's not always easy as to put it into a form. It's much more easy to understand why the letters are a certain combination, and that makes us estimate a certain object in a certain way, or certain word in a certain way. That's much more easy than the form. With the form you can make mistakes also, simply because it is not meant to be a letter combinations that they should always be a representation of a form. Now they are a representation certainly of our estimation process and a direction into that position, and we describe it in a way that we understand it, and it's almost physically strong, but it's not so much so that the directions that you that are shown leads to automatically to an absolute correct form. So that's a bit frustrating if you would try to do so. Maybe it is possible if there's even more method behind it, but I'm not going to attempt that. I can attempt that with certain words, absolutely, and it will have an exact result even. But in words like this, which are dealing with estimation, as itself also deals with values that are slightly unknown and should remain unknown, because it has a certain range, and it simply says now it has to be within that range. It's open to suggestion, it's open to your senses, and you know in which direction to go to. So it's not always meant to be 100% exact science, but the directions themselves, they are pretty exact as a combination, as I hope you see in these explanations. Mess is the most difficult one. The A is the form where you see with a time aspect involved. There's always a progression involved, a move, a change in time. So how do you go from one position to a next? There are certain, you have to search for it. That's what this kind of estimation is doing with this A. You have to search for it, you have to make it, you go to that direction, and then you make it. M and A, make it is actually also with the A sound, so that's quite funny. But the M and the A combined is, as you can see, you have this environment where you have some extensions, and it actually go to one of these extensions. So it takes out a bit, a separation of one of these extensions to make itself maybe even more clear this way. And in combination with the S, so there has to be one point that brings it down to where it starts, and then the extensions themselves that comes forth from there. So what do I have then? I can see where it's going to. It's indeed in one of these sections. It has this effect. Mes already exists as a word, as a Dutch word, means knife, and a knife cuts something so that it can be separated. It was a very strange word, because mostly I expect a word to express the form of the object very much itself, and for me it's confusing that it does not do that so much with a knife. Of course it also has this cutting down, but it's here and the separation is there as well, but this separation to that effect. It emphasizes almost that effect. So I'm still not 100% satisfied, but you can understand it. But with the word mess with a double S combined, it almost going to make more sense, as you can see in the following slides. So here you see that it's used to separate. You have something to separate here, and the separation with the double S emphasizes this going out and separating more, and so a more effect that takes out. So it's no longer something that is taken aside. And if I emphasize that a little bit, you can see here all these differences. You have this mess, or the knife cutting something that it can be taken out. This taken out with an emphasis again on S will even be taken out. It's like the blood gulping out and more blood gulping out and everything losing itself. That's the whole mess that I associate here. Is it then already satisfying enough to no, as a proof? I don't think so. But if you go back to the elements that are built up, and you see, like, if I have the letter M, which area do I have, or what can I recognize in that area? If I have the A, where does my attention leads to? If I have the S, where does my attention leads to? It leads to these positions. So that way it is already correct. I'm not sure if it is satisfying enough already, but I hope already with this video that you have already some more idea for what kind of directions the letters are steering your mind into, and how the whole system is built up. It's built up very naturally. The reasons why this is used for or useful, then, let's say, to give an order into letters, but that's another chapter. I don't want to discuss that further at this point. It's too much to say about that if I want to start with that. Anyhow, this was Gerald Tuavamas. There's a website too with some short URLs, links to videos that I did before, and all kinds of words with all the variations of letters. I hope to have lots of variations, as much as variation as possible with all the letters. Mostly I take English words because we can verify them very easily, compare them very easily, and I would just use them as a helpful tool to make myself a little bit more clear. Okay, thanks again for watching. This was Gerald Tuavamas. And there's a YouTube channel that you discovered. Subscribe to it if you want for more new videos soon. Thanks, bye.